What is happening, guys? Welcome to FPL Tactics, where we look to master the beautiful game of FPL. Now, on this video, we're going to look at how we got on in Game Week 21 and how the team is looking for Game Week 22. I'm with you on this journey. I know there's a lot of injuries out there, so we're going to be looking at all of the injuries and also the right players to bring in. And finally, rant of the week. I've got a big rant about Martinez and Areola, who to choose because I can't get it right, but we'll get into that later on in the video. Actually, this is my first video ever posting, so please give it a like and subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated. Let's get into it. Okay, so double game week 25 has been confirmed. Man City will be playing Chelsea and Brentford now. A lot of managers are actually looking at bringing in the triple captainship to use it on Haaland on this double game week, and I know it's a very popular choice at the moment. Now there is something to think about because definitely you've got two home games there. Chelsea are not always fantastic from a defensive point of view. Brentford are kind of on the ropes at the moment, a lot of injuries as well, so it could be a good opportunity. It's one of those moments where it's either going to make or break your season. I think towards the end of the season for sure. Brentford, they've got Liverpool and Man City. I mean, it's a bit of a difficult one. Obviously, two strong teams. Tony, he does have penalties, so anything is possible, and he is looking like he's going to be scoring. He seems hungry for it as well, so it's not a bad shout. It's definitely a nice differential as well to have in there. You just got to think about there is some nice attacking options. Maybe Darwin Nunez is kind of firing again. You've got to be thinking about the possible double game week with Liverpool and Luton as well. So that's something just to be keeping an eye on for sure. The blank game week coming up in game week 29. Now it's going to be a big one. I think currently actually there's only one result, one fixture booked in there for this Brentford and Burnley. So depending on obviously what happens in the FA Cup results, but right now we've got Arsenal, Brentford, Burnley, Crystal Palace and West Ham that are out of the FA Cup. So there's a good chance that those teams will play in game week 29, and then obviously we'll see what happens in the FA Cup over the weekend. So it'll be a bit of a wait and see, but definitely it'll be something to think about in the future, whether that's your engineering your team towards that game week or you're looking to wildcard after that as well. Moving on to injury updates. So Klopp has had an interview just giving a bit of information on Trent, which is fantastic for me because I do have Trent in my team, and it looks like hopefully that he's close, moving in the right direction. So fingers crossed he will be free for the next game. Obviously, it's gutting to not have him in the game against Bournemouth, but it is what it is. Also, it's good to hear that Robertson is also possibly to come back. That's a great option as well for the defence. Good for Liverpool as well to make sure that they're getting those clean sheets back up and running, which is great. I love that they call him Robo, which as well, it's a very Scottish nickname. But they're all moving in the right direction. That's the most important thing. Salah looks like he's going to be out for at least a month, which I don't think is going to actually make much of a difference to us because we were thinking about not having him in our teams anyway for a month, and so there's a chat about him actually getting to the final or possibly semi-final of AFCON with Egypt. So that's something we definitely need to be thinking about for the future into our teams. That'll probably be round about game week 27. So that's something that we have to have in our plans, but it doesn't affect us too much as well. So just make sure you have some money in your team for that. Pep was also talking about Haaland. Now the word on the street really is that he should be back for Burnley. I don't know if he's at confidence levels where you would put the captain's armband on him yet. I mean, maybe Foden would be a safer shout, but as the press conferences go and as the cup games play, we'll start to hear more information. So hopefully we'll get a bit more clarity on that. But the signs are looking very good for getting Haaland into the team again. So the wildcard chip strategy. So I've given two options here because it's something that I'm definitely thinking about at the moment, and it's just sort of some points on why it's important to think about wildcarding now or maybe wildcarding on game week 30, and this is just going to give you two schools of thought. I mean, again, this completely depends on where you are in your team. I have a few fires to be put out in my team, but also I could very much easily hold on to those players and wait. But so just some of the points. So for a wildcard now, it will be good to get ahead of some price rises and position your team for a strong double game week. That's meaning if obviously Liverpool play Luton, then you can obviously get some really good Liverpool players in there, such as Jota, Nunez, also having Trent maybe in defence, so it's a good opportunity. Well, obviously choosing the best Man City players such as Foden, Haaland, Alvarez, potentially a Man City defender. I don't know, maybe De Bruyne, but I'm on the fence. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player. He's risky, but the reward would be huge. So just like everybody has seen over the last game week, so there is definitely something to be thinking about, and also all these players will be rising in price. So this is something that you could be catching on to. One of the strategies if you wildcard now, because you very much are leaving yourself open to the blank game weeks, which will be game week 29, you have to then think about game week 29 and reverse engineer how you want to move your team towards that game week. Otherwise, you could be looking at a free hit on game week 29 so that you can continue with the team that you want into game week 30. Obviously, another option is it allows you to position for the bench boost. This is one thing that I was thinking about because we don't have Haaland, we don't have Son, we don't have Salah. So there's a lot of money that you can spend on your team right now. And so I think actually, just even from my memory, I've had so much, this is the most money I've had to spend on a team with such good players that you could easily have a strong full squad of 15 players ready to play over the next game week. So you might have a good chance to getting a great bench boost. I don't have a great track record with bench boosts, so I'll probably try this, and then and the bench boost, someone will get injured or everyone will blank. But at least it does look like a very promising way to use the chip. I can't really imagine, a lot of people do use them in other double game weeks, but depending on if you want to do that, again, you have to have the right team to be able to drive that sort of activity for your team as well with the right bench boost. But it's just something to think about. Obviously, the popular choice at the moment is wildcard on game week 30. Allows you to dead end your team at game week 29. That's what a lot of people are talking about, and position a strong team for the last 10 game weeks. So it's just something to think about as well. Obviously, if you're dead ending your team at game week 29, that means you still have the free hit to be able to use later on. And I know there will be double game weeks coming up with this big blank game week, so it might be a great option and also an advantage to be using your free hit for that game week as well. So I just wanted to go through what my team looked like from the game week just past. Obviously, it wasn't a fantastic game week. My rant of the week, Areola, Martinez, oh my goodness. It is crazy how bad I am at figuring out how these guys are going. Areola on Man United, 8 points, 10 points, 11 points. I had him on the bench for every single one of them. And then you think Sheffield United haven't scored against West Ham for the last 3 times they've played them, and then they scored 2 goals. And then when you look at Martinez, I had him from Sheffield United, didn't get it. Brentford didn't get it. Man United didn't get it. Burnley didn't get it. And then the one game week that I put him on the bench, Everton 9 points. But that's just life. That is just how it is. There is definitely an advantage to using the wild card. I can just get rid of both of them to take away the problem. But yeah, not fantastic from the goalkeeper point of view. Defence was pretty horrific as well. Ake with a 1-pointer. I think he got a yellow card actually, which is slightly annoying because it's just non-stop, isn't it, with him? He hasn't been actually that bad a choice, but I just, unlucky on getting a 1-pointer there. Bayer and Taylor, and Arnold all injured, so it's not fantastic from that point of view. Saliba helped me out there. Obviously I wish it was Gabriel, but I never ever had Gabriel in my team, and I definitely got an advantage of Saliba at the start of the season. He's been in my team the whole season, so is what it is. Yeah, obviously Saka, I definitely be thinking of moving him on, although at the back of my mind, obviously there is a good chance he hasn't scored in the last 6 game weeks. That probably means he will score the next game week, because the law of averages, I think he probably will. So it is the temptation to keep a hold of him. It's not a bad fixture. It's against Nottingham Forest, I think, the next one. Yeah, at home as well. So got a good sort of way. But I think there's a good chance that he will probably give you a return there. So I think if you think I'm moving on, but then don't be don't be surprised that he scores a brace against Forest, because usually the law of averages do kick in with these kind of players, and the data plays up. Now Bowen, I was having my fingers crossed for Bowen, because obviously everyone probably either put them on the bench, or people didn't even move to get Bowen because he was injured. Fortunately, he did play, but he didn't get any points. Unfortunately, no returns, but he did have that potential penalty shout as well, but it is what it is again. So it's just one of those game weeks. Richarlison, obviously I'm really excited about bringing him in. I brought him in a few game weeks ago, and I managed to get his 15 pointer as well, so pretty happy with that, and he's definitely going to be a mainstay in the team. Foden has been returning consistently, so I'm not too worried about him, and he's got a good couple of fixtures coming up. Got the captain right finally. That's one thing I've been really struggling with this season, is just getting the captain right. So Palmer, I'm very happy with that, and it's certainly saved my game week as well. Watkins and Alvarez, I mean, what can you say? I think a lot of people suffered in this one, but those that had Gabriel, then they're probably laughing at the moment, and also Jota, but again, he was a bit of a wild card, or a differential for sure. So my current game week rank is at 349,766. That's dropped pretty much 100k since last game week, which is slightly frustrating, but moving on to bigger and better things. So what I want to do is I want to talk you through what my kind of wild card is going to be looking like, just because I wanted to show you guys maybe what it would look like, and kind of partly my thinking going into the next game weeks. I think it'd be helpful just for you guys to see the idea of reverse engineering. Obviously this is going to get a little bit technical, but again, hopefully it helps you, maybe gives you some ideas as to what you might be doing with your team. And again, I actually have, I think it's something like 8.2 million in the bank at the moment. So my team is round about 103 million. So it's not, I mean, obviously I have a little bit extra cash, so but I'm going to show you maybe just some options as well, because you still have cash in the bank, and hopefully to be able to remain with Haaland in the team as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take out Areola as well as Martinez. I want to get rid of that issue of just getting it wrong all the time. Also, I want to make sure there's some actually really good cheap goalkeepers out there, and so it doesn't actually, I don't think I'm getting much return from my keepers for having more expensive ones, so I want to just make sure I'm getting my money's worth basically. So I'm going to bring in Steele, and also I'm going to bring in Dubravka. Dubravka's got a penalty save recently, but he's actually got really good fixtures coming up, and the fixtures between these two actually make good sense. So I think that's why I'm going to be doing that. Now, a lot of people are actually moving off Trippier. There's a lot of chat about Bayern Munich and so on, but I think Newcastle have got good fixtures coming up. Trippier tends to go through these little sort of lulls in his points, and he starts to again go through these purple patches. So I have a good feeling about him coming back on board while people are getting rid of him. So I'm catching the price drop. Estupinan is a player that I'm always afraid of when he plays, so I definitely want to be bringing him in as well, because he just looks great. He's very attacking. Brighton do look a little bit more solid. They've got 2 clean sheets in a row now, and if you've got him booming down the left, then it's always exciting to watch. The final person I want to bring in, it might be a little bit knee-jerk, but I definitely think he's worth bringing in, is Gabriel. I think basically I like the idea of having 2 Arsenal defenders. I'm not so excited about the Arsenal midfield or strikers, so I kind of want to just stack up on Arsenal defenders. I think they've been doing okay when the defence, safe pair of hands. Again, they do have not terrible fixtures. I mean, they've got Liverpool coming up, but West Ham, Burnley, then Newcastle, Sheffield United. Again, I have quite a strong defence anyway on the bench, so I can sort of mix these players around as well. And then finally, I'm kind of on the fence. I might be bringing in Pedro Porro for Trent Alexander-Arnold, depending if he's going to be coming back. If Arnold will be coming back, I'll probably keep him in the team, and also depending on the Liverpool double game week. But for now, let's just put Porro in the team. At the moment, we're keeping Richarlison there. He's definitely staying. We're definitely going to be keeping Foden and also Palmer. The 2 players that I definitely want to be bringing in is Anthony Gordon and also Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota, the only reason I want to bring him in is because he does look like he's ahead of the curve when it comes to Gapco. Also, with Salah not being there, obviously he then becomes more of a main striker. He did literally play that main striker role before when Luis Diaz came off, I think, on the pitch. So, he's going to be seeing a lot of the ball. He's definitely a great finisher as well. So, it's a player that I definitely am excited to watch, and I'm afraid whenever he plays. So, I definitely want to be keeping him on as well. And then finally, this also gives me room for Haaland to come in. So that way I've got that option again for the double game week. It's so hard to actually choose with this sort of team what the actual team would look like for a starting 11, because it's such a solid defence, midfield and strikers. But this is why it's setting me up for a very good bench boost the next game. So if we move on to the next game week, it kind of shows you, if you imagine, we have on the bench you've got Luton goalkeeper, Luton at Newcastle. Then you've got obviously Arsenal playing Liverpool, so that would be maybe a quite easy bench. And then Pedro with Everton as well. So there's a lot of good fixtures in there. It'd be very difficult to decide who that I would be putting on the bench. So it would be a great opportunity to do a bench boost. So it'll be a good use of the chip as well. Obviously, moving further down the line, the idea is to carry your transfer. So in this one, I would have one, and then I would carry the one through there. I would have 2 transfers in game week 24. This way, again, depending on injuries and depending on the scenario, I will probably be starting to look to engineer my team for game week 29, which is obviously not got the blank game weeks yet, but I'd have a good feeling as to what teams are playing and what teams are not, and that way I can sort of engineer it. Worst case scenario, if the game week is looking very short and it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to engineer the team in, I'll have to maybe looking at a free hit. But again, ideally I'd like to keep that for the later game weeks, that after the blank on 29. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a good insight. That's basically what my wildcard's going to be looking like, and also the idea for the bench boost as well, because it's always a chip that's very difficult to be using. It gives you an idea for future thinking. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Obviously, I love a rant, so please put your rants in the comments, and we'll definitely get your rant on a slide in the next video, and we can share the pain and move on from it. Cheers, guys.